dead.
You have read that title correctly. It's not a mistake. Today's video is going to be all about how Narcissa Malfoy secretly plotted the Dark Lord's downfall and was quite successful at it, if I'm honest. She was involved in several key moments that, had they gone a different direction, could have resulted in Voldemort being victorious quite early on. I think people forget just how crucial a role Narcissa played in Voldemort's defeat, which actually stemmed more from a desire to protect her own family rather than target him directly. It's still not to say that she wasn't aware of the damage she's capable of causing, and that's something we'll talk about shortly. So let's begin by first looking at Narcissa's overall attitude towards Voldemort and the Death Eaters, because it ties into her later actions. The majority of you will already be aware of this, but for those of you who are not, Narcissa Malfoy was not a Death Eater, nor was she ever. She never took the Dark Mark, she never pledged herself to Voldemort's service, she didn't carry out any missions or anything of the sort. However, surprisingly, she was allowed into the inner circle due to the fact that her husband, Lucius, was a high-ranking Death Eater. I'm still not sure why Voldemort allowed that, but I'm sure he gave Lucius a chilling warning were his wife to ever be involved with any sort of unappreciated behaviour, something Lucius assured the Dark Lord would not be the case. She also wasn't Voldemort's biggest fan. She knew how cruel and unforgiving he was, but nevertheless, she supported her husband's involvement with the Death Eaters because she believed in how much he believed in what Voldemort was trying to do. That wasn't always the case with Narcissa. It was her supporting her husband's endeavours more so than having a passion for herself. Her sister was also involved with the same organisation, so it only made sense for her to participate too. So Voldemort returns to power. He scolds Lucius for not trying to find him, despite the clear signs that he was still alive. Lucius denies any of the signs. Voldemort knows he's lying, but in reality he needs Lucius and the Death Eaters as he's still regaining his strength back and getting used to his new body, so he decides to give Lucius another chance. Lucius goes back to full Death Eater mode. It's all about the Dark Lord's return and mounting a fresh challenge on the wizarding world. Narcissa is on board. She'd rather be in a prime position in Voldemort's version of the new world. Her husband is right up there, Bellatrix is out of prison, her family are all together. It's all good for a couple of months, to the best part of a year until that is. Lucius is placed in charge of a mission to retrieve the prophecy. He not only fails to retrieve the prophecy, but it is actually destroyed during the battle, and he ends up being captured, sent to Azkaban, and has his reputation destroyed. He's all over the papers. Now this makes Lucius useless to Voldemort because he can no longer act as a double agent through his role in the Ministry and his influence over the Minister too. Narcissa knows how serious this is. She knows her husband is in a lot of trouble and his life is now at risk. The only reason Voldemort even frees him from Azkaban is due to Snape's pleas that he can still be useful. Now Narcissa is called into Red Alert when Draco is initiated into the Death Eaters really early, I might add. He's so young, he's still learning, he's nervous and really feels the pressure to not only fill his father's shoes, but also restore his family's honour after his father's failure. Narcissa is not happy at the role that Draco's had to take, and her concern grows to an immediate unsettling unease when her son is given the task of assassinating Hogwarts headmaster Albus Dumbledore. This is way more than what Draco can handle, and what we can see from the obvious stress on his face and how it's taking its toll on his body, causing him to be sluggish and gaunt. He tries feeble attempts to kill him through third-party assistance like trying to send the cursed necklace and the poisoned mead. Both attempts actually end up hurting unintended targets. Narcissa knew that Voldemort had intended for Draco to fail so he could kill him as an additional punishment for Lucius' failures. She knows that Draco will fail. She knows that that is the outcome that Voldemort really wants. He knows Dumbledore isn't going to be killed. He's Albus Dumbledore. If Voldemort couldn't kill him, then there's no way Draco will be successful at it either. Narcissa decides to become involved and goes to Snape behind Voldemort's back in order to ensure that Snape would carry out the deed so Draco could be spared. Bellatrix said it best when she said the Dark Lord would kill them all if he knew what they were up to. It's common knowledge that if you defy Voldemort then you die. This actually works out perfectly for Snape because he could earn the Dark Lord's trust back completely by carrying out the deed himself, even though he really didn't want to. So what's important here to note, guys, is that Narcissa has schemed behind Voldemort's back to prevent the outcome he desired. She has checked out of the Voldemort camp. She is checking out of Voldemort Hotel. He's treating her husband like he's less than human, and he's setting her son up to fail and then be killed. She knew it was only a matter of time before Voldemort would look to once again punish her husband, so it's no surprise she took her chance when the opportunity presented itself and displayed two moments of bravery. The first was when she lied directly to Voldemort's face, falsely informing him that Harry Potter was dead. If there's one lesson to learn from Voldemort, it's the fact that you pretty much can't lie to him. He can always tell. Not only did Narcissa successfully fool him, Harry himself, to her own surprise, managed to hold in the excruciating pain from Voldemort's Cruciatus curse, which backed up her claim that the boy was dead. This is, in my opinion, all but confirmed in Harry's head that Voldemort's followers were losing confidence in him, and Narcissa may not be the only one. She knew that Harry was the only chance that anyone had of defeating the Dark Lord. She had switched allegiance long before that moment, but this was the first action she took. It did not take much for Narcissa to switch off or check out of her loyalty to Voldemort, as I said, and that was down to her family being threatened. This quote from the Deathly Hallows sums it up, which reads as follows: "Still feigning death on the ground, he understood." Narcissa knew that the only way she would be permitted to enter Hogwarts to find her son was as part of the conquering army. She no longer cared whether Voldemort won. It really solidifies her stance on the situation here, guys. By lying for Harry and obviously to see her son, she knew that he would find a way to end this, especially if he just survived the killing curse again. Her next act was refusing to partake in the Battle of Hogwarts, caring only about the well-being of her son. At this point, she craved the Dark Lord's downfall. There was no way she wanted a world with this person as its leader. She was also clever enough to have aided Harry Potter while not fighting during the battle, which means the evidence of her help was there, and there's no way Harry Potter would have denied that she did assist him, as it wasn't in Harry's nature. Contrary to the movie, the Malfoys didn't actually leave the battle like it's shown. They stayed, but they just didn't fight. Now, although Draco definitely seemed to have learned his lesson, Lucius did not, even after Voldemort's defeat, even after getting caught, then being broken out of prison and not sent back after the war ended, even after being point blank guilty of the crimes of being a Death Eater, Lucius still voiced his disapproval of Muggleborns and everything that surrounded them. He still wanted a pureblood society, and I would not be surprised to see him support the next up and coming young daring wizard who wants to make a change, which is something I feel made Narcissa resent the Dark Lord even more. She resented how much her husband craved this change that meant sacrificing their rather peaceful life. Narcissa had seen stability and mortality for the first 13 years of Draco's life, so to see that become unsettled was not something she wanted. Well everyone, with that being said, that is my video on how Narcissa plotted Voldemort's downfall. As I said at the beginning of this video, it's not entirely a surprise that she craved his demise, and now you can understand why that was. Thanks again for watching. Please make sure to give this video a like. Thank you to those of you who have stuck with me, it really means the world to me. I'll see you again. Make sure to look out for the next video.